All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is Lead Generation with Networking. My name is Greg Town. I'm with GT Training Systems. Just wanted to thank you guys for coming out and joining us today. So just want to go ahead and get this started here with technology is working for us. Just want to make sure, could somebody hit me a chat message or something like that? Let me know if you're seeing our slides on your screen here. Just want to make sure we got technology working with us here. All righty. I am not sure if what I see on my screen is what you see on your screen or not. So hopefully you are. It is, we're working with a new webinar company here and stuff. So uh, if not, if not, let me know. I'll email you over the slides and stuff. So structure for today's webinar. I wanted to give you a little bit of quick introduction about me. I recognize about half the names on the attendees list, and about the other half I'm assuming must have gotten shared, or you kind of discovered us through some sort of marketing or social media and stuff. And I know when I'm sitting on the, at a webinar and stuff, or sitting in a training, I always kind of want to know a little bit about what the who the person presenting and stuff. From there, we're going to go into about 45 to 60 minutes of awesome, power intense training, some really great values and stuff as far as how to, it's funny, I was at a small business roundtable yesterday, and this conversation actually came up about networking and the scariness of networking and how to network and how to actually take that time frame that you invest into going out into a chamber function or a BNI group or anything of that aspect and actually get a return of value for your dollar and stuff, to actually be able to come back and come back with it as far as with good quality leads and not just a stack of business cards. I'll give you a quick introduction to our advanced training starting September 7th, 2016. Don't worry, there is no hardcore pressure or anything of that aspect. As many people here know, I've also got a business in real estate, and I always tell people, it's like, the thing I hate about being in the business of real estate is we'll have people come in, you'll give trainings and stuff, and they'll either give like the $30,000 or the 30,000-foot view, and they never go in depth with anything and stuff. And it's always like, okay, well, you need to come to our training for that, or you need to come to the this training for that aspect. And I absolutely hate that. It is it just drives me in. That just truly drives me insane. My attitude is I would much rather give you guys great information and great knowledge. And then when if you feel that you want more and you want to kind of come into some of our more advanced training, awesome. If not, if right now you're not at the time and stuff for the training or anything of that aspect, when you become ready for the training, or you know somebody that needs our training and stuff, hopefully we are top of mind and you think of us and stuff. That's why we put these out here and stuff. Also give you ways to reach out to me to make sure you kind of stay plugged in with our our network and stuff for more free training. And then question and answers, there's a chat box on the side. Feel free to dump all your questions on there and stuff. I'm going to make sure I go in depth with every question that comes in. It could be about lead generation. It could be about marketing. It could be about business development. It could be, as many of you, as for the people that in here that know me, they know that I'm very big on health and wellness and items of that aspect. So any questions I will go in depth with if I don't have the answer to it. Normally 9 times out of 10, I know somebody that I can connect you with to get that great information and stuff. So I mean, that's kind of how I view my role today, as being a conduit of information. So, and also I like doing the questions and answer afterwards and stuff, because I see something pop up on the chat button here, and I may go off on a tangent, and I want to make sure I respect everybody's time frame as far as staying within the expected time frame for our training today and stuff. So, a little bit about me. Who is Greg Town? Well, for those of you that don't know me personally yet, I'm one of the top producing real estate brokers for Washington State. We just actually became awarded as one of the top 10 real estate brokers in Washington State for 2016 by the American Institute of Real Estate Professionals. I'm a published author on the book, Becoming Known as the Friend in the Business, going from salesperson to trusted advisor. And I also, outside of real estate, obviously, I've got a training company. As I jokingly tell people, I own 2.5 businesses and stuff. But I'm a speaker and a trainer for multiple professions. Kind of how this all started out is a friend of mine actually said something to the effect of, Greg, I do business with you because you're my friend first, my realtor second. And I jokingly tell people that's about when the light bulb magically went off above my head, and I realized that there was something to this. And so I started working with my team as far as, okay, we're going to build our marketing plan of that being known as the friend. We're going to become the friend in the business, as opposed to we're going to go towards our business in more of a servant attitude as opposed to a transactional attitude. So, which led into some phenomenal success. And so I had other realtors and brokers within my company and stuff reaching out to me, wanting to know what we were doing, because we're obviously attracting a lot more business than everybody else was. This led into our lending partners and our partners in insurance wanting to get information about the time frame that I started having attorneys, dentists, and chiropractors reaching out to me saying, what exactly are you doing? I kind of sat there and said, I think there's a training program. I think this training program can go across multiple boards of industries and stuff, as opposed to just being real estate specific. So that's when we started working on building up our training program, basically of how to become known as the friend in the business. And I'm also a small business owner. So, I'm right there alongside with most of the people in here. I'm in the trenches day in and day out. I know what it likes to be sitting on the ultimates of highs, and I also know what it feels like to be literally crawled up underneath your desk, rocking back and forth, crying, trying to figure out how to keep the doors open and the lights on. I have been at the, it's like, there was I was on a guest speaking for a webinar about 2 months ago, and we're talking about the quote-unquote the Great Recession. And it finally dawned on me what was so great about it, because I always hated referred to as the Great Recession, because I tell people there was nothing great about it. We all got our teeth kicked in. Anybody that came out of that unscathed was not in business. But it finally dawned on me that for those of us that went through it, we realized that we had to run a business. We had, no matter what we did, no matter what our product or our service was, we had to look at it as being a business owner. So that was the only great thing that came out of it was the education that we all were forced to receive by going through it and stuff. So, I just tell people, it's like, what makes me different than most trainers is I am right alongside with you. I don't sit there and go, that looks like a really good idea. Let's let's put that into a training. Or I don't read something, or I don't hear something and go, let's throw that into a training module and stuff. What we actually do is when we see something, we take it in, we incorporate it, we tweak it, we play with it, and then from there, we take it to our training company inside. So, I mean, that's the number one thing that makes me different than other trainers is that, I'm very much still active in the roles of business development and sales and marketing. I'm not just merely a training company. So Let's get into our next slide here. To get the most out of today's webinar, turn off all distractions, cell phones, emails, whatever you can to kind of shut out all the other distractions. Take out a pen and paper to take notes. Listen fast because I talk fast. And as I said, as long as technology works with us today, we're recording the session right now, and as long as everything in the technology works with us, we'll have this session out on our YouTube channel. So let's first get into what I want to talk about is types of networking events. Now, when I hear the word networking event, most people think of what's kind of referred to as the traditional networking event. But there's also multiple avenues, there's multiple opportunities out there with what I refer to as non-traditional networking. And so I want to go kind of a little bit more in depth on both of those aspects of. So what is a traditional networking event? Well, if I was to ask most people what a traditional networking event would be, you see our top three here that would immediately pop up. Number one, chamber organizations. Number two, leads groups that are industry locked, like BNI or LATIP, or any type of networking group that only one industry per one person per industry is represented. And then the other aspect is like meetup groups, where it's open industries, or I think I just heard of one networking after work and stuff, to where it's not industry locked. So let's take a look at kind of, the pluses of these and stuff. So chamber organizations. Most chambers that I work with and most chambers that I look at, they have multiple events during the month. The really great thing about that is you get a wide variety of people to meet. There's, as I jokingly tell people, it's like you almost have like your core group of people that are just about at everything, and then you have your people that kind of float in and float out, or depending on the type of event, you may have somebody that floats in for a particular type of event that you'll never see at another type of event. I always tell people it's like the number one, the best way to get your return out of your investment when it comes to a chamber organization is absolutely get active with it. We'll take like my local chamber here, the Tacoma Pierce County Chamber of Commerce. I sit on the board of directors and I'm one of the ambassadors. I be very, how I get the value out of my chamber membership is I get involved, I get out there, I get to as many events as I can to meet people and to build connections and to keep, establish connections going. Leads groups, industry locked. This is going to be like your BNI, your LATIPs. I take the lead. I think it's another one. It's, basically it's a lead organization that meets normally on a weekly basis that is industry specific or is industry locked. So you can only have, one realtor, one insurance agent, one financial advisor, one person from each industry and stuff. It's normally a weekly commitment, and you don't typically see the same group of people. When I've worked in the leads groups before, where I discovered that I got the best return on my value is in the one-on-one meetings. This is where I actually this was where I reached out to people outside of our normally weekly lunch get-together or breakfast get-together, and I met with them on a one-on-one basis to really truly learn about what's going on with their business, what attracted them into their business, and really got to know them on a personal level. Third aspect, meetup groups, open industry. A lot of times, the kind of meetup.com is probably the most common place to find these and stuff. Typically what I see in these aspects is they meet up about once a week or once every other week is normally what I see the rotation. Once again, just like the chamber organizations, you'll typically see a core group of people and then visitors that kind of float in and float out type of aspect and stuff. A lot of times when I'm traveling, this is one of the aspects I do to kind of get out and meet local business owners and stuff. And once again, just that one-on-one meetings is traditionally where I see where you get your best value that comes into. One of the things you'll recognize is across all three of these boards, you'll notice that relationship building is the key. This is absolutely where we will kind of, where you'll get your most value out of. I joke, I always kind of shake my head and, almost in a little bit of disgust when people tell me, it's like, oh, I joined that chamber and nothing happened. I didn't get any business out of it whatsoever. And I always ask them, it's like, well, did you show up? Did you go to anything? No, I just, I'm in their directory. They tell me about their SEO. Well, You know, there's two different types of people that will join chambers, or two different types of, corporate entities. One, very big box, mega companies, and they look at this as they're basically as they're part of their, this falls into their community involvement. The other aspect is going to be the small to medium-sized business owners, and we look at this as, this is an opportunity for us to get back into and network and meet people. Apologize whenever you hear the microphone mute and stuff. I'm just taking a quick drink of water, uh, just that way I kind of keep myself fresh and stuff here. So, what are some examples of non-traditional networking events? These are the really exciting ones because these are the ones that is a really an awesome chance for you to basically get out and meet new people without it being so business-like. So, what are some non-traditional networking events? Well, these could be like sports or sporting events. If you're big into playing baseball, basketball, or you sit on a league or something of that aspect. Civic organizations, social events. The sporting events, this is kind of, I learned this almost by accident. Here in Tacoma, Washington, we have what's called the Tacoma Rainiers. It's our minor league baseball team. And for years, I had season tickets. And the ironic thing is with season ticket holders, I mean, we had 72 or 74 games a year. So 72 to 74 times a year, or right about there, if I gave away tickets or something like that, I would always see normally about the same group of people because we would all sit in about the same area, or we would all go into the same area of the stadium, something of that aspect. And literally out of pure dumb luck coincidence, I discovered how to do business with how to create business and opportunity within this. Same with civic organizations. I know a lot of people that are big in Rotary or Toastmasters or Kiwanis, or some of the other different lodge organizations, items of that aspect. Finding nonprofits that really speak to your heart, that you really truly find an interest in. Get involved with them. Get on their board of directors. Now, it is. I always tell people, it's like, don't just go find a don't go find a nonprofit that that you just want to be there because you think it's going to get you plugged into the great people and stuff. It's very funny. It is when I see people that have popped in, that go into nonprofits just because of what they think is going to get them get them connections and stuff within get them connections and stuff for business. It's almost like everybody else out there in the world can tell that, and it's almost like we kind of get this feeling, this funny feeling of, okay, something's not right here. This person's not here because they truly care about the organization. They don't really truly care about the cause. They're just in here to collect the leads and stuff. And then social events, parties, get-togethers. It's like my real estate team. We love housewarming parties and stuff. Why? Because this is a very easy, relaxed, setting that we can actually go and build and make connections with. So one thing to keep in mind, though, is when you're at these, what I refer to as a non-traditional networking event, this is not the place to pitch your product or service. You do not want to go in sales mode here. You actually want to kind of go in and build some relationships, build some, build some trust and stuff. This is not the place where you want to go in and try to put your salesperson Superman hat on. So. Let's talk a little bit about networking fails, and I think we have all seen this or all experienced this. The first one I call is networking by drive-by, and that is, it's very easy to spot these people. We have all experienced it at one time or another. If you have not experienced it, guess what? Sooner or later, you will experience it. That is when you're at a networking event and you see somebody walking through the door and they immediately look to the left, they look to the right, they look all around, they smile, and they immediately go into seek and destroy mode. How many people can I meet? How many cards can I flip out? And how many cards can I collect? And the worst of these people will actually even interrupt people that are in a conversation to collect business cards and collect business cards. And these are the same individuals that will show up to their office the next day with a stack of business cards, and they're actually smiling because they think they actually accomplished something by collecting so many business cards. Well, then when they go to try to follow up, if they follow up, mind you, they have nothing to be able to connect with somebody on. They have nothing to be able to talk to anybody about. They actually sit there, and their biggest concern, their biggest question back and forth is, when they call to collect is like, to follow up. They have nothing to follow up on other than, yes, I was that strange, creepy person that interrupted your conversation. So, don't do the networking by drive-by. The other aspect is what I refer to as the wallflower effect. So this is the person that connects with nobody. They stand in the back corner. They stand by where the food or the drinks are at. They don't reach out to anybody. They wait for somebody to come and reach out to them. And a lot of us probably started out in this aspect, and then there's probably a handful of us that are still in this aspect and stuff. It's almost like you almost have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to reach out and kind of connect. You have to step out of your comfort zone, or else you'll fall into the wallflower effect. And then the third aspect is hovering with the same people. It is ironically at the Small Business Roundtable yesterday morning and stuff. We're talking about this, and the word clicks came out of it, and nobody likes clicks. I mean, we all when you hear that term, we all think back to junior high school or high school and stuff, where it was just, if you weren't part of the in crowd, you were the part of the out crowd and stuff. But, what I call hovering with the same people. So a positive aspect of it is you're building on an existing relationship. The negative aspect is you're not creating any new connections. A friend of mine that's in the insurance business, I brought this up, it's like a lot of times we'll see each other at a chamber after hours or something of that aspect. We'll kind of quickly catch up with each other, and then literally we look at each other and go, well, we're not here to meet each other and stuff, so let's go out and mix and mingle, meet new people. It is, so in that aspect, we acknowledge that that we know each other. We may even get together with each other afterwards outside of the chamber events just to socialize and catch up. But we understand that we're in a networking event, we're there to work. So let's talk about that infamous question. And I know this is one that always comes up, and I hate it. I hate it when I hear this question. And it seems like this is a common question that comes up all the time in networking events, and that is, what do you do? And I'm curious because I've worked across, as I say, I work across multiple industries. And I'm almost wondering, because I don't remember in realtor school where they pulled us aside and said, okay, 101, you go to networking events, you ask everybody, what do you do? But I've noticed that everybody in every industry, this is kind of what we do. And I think that where this falls into is as we become business owners, as we become self-employed, or as we become where we may have a small salary, and the bulk of our income is earned through bonuses and items of that aspect and stuff, is I think where this comes into play is our profession starts becoming part of our identity. But the average person out there, their profession traditionally is not part of their identity. If I tell people, so if you go back in time, back when I was a Department of Defense contractor and stuff, if you ask me what do I do, I would tell you it's like, well, I enjoy traveling, I enjoy scuba diving, I enjoy getting out hiking, I enjoy doing activities. I never equated what I did professionally as part of my identity. So within that, I try to, what I want to do is I want to get away from this type of question and stuff. And I think about it, how us as human beings communicate the best in the most common is through the art of storytelling. So instead of, when you ask somebody, what do you do? Well, if you ask me, what do I do? It's like, well, I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer, I'm a realtor. That doesn't relate the story of what I do. But if I was able to engage in a conversation with somebody and ask some really powerful questions of, and in that, answer those questions, be able to relate through the story of my life or the story of my profession of what I do, that will help build that connection and stuff. So one of the best questions that I find, and ironically, I tell people, it's like, this is actually a silver bullet here, is I can use this both in a professional setting and a non-professional setting. I have used this in the dating world. I have used this in professional world. I have used this just in social settings just to get to know somebody a little bit. So the first question I always like to ask people is, where do you work at? And as I said, most people do not view their profession as part of their identity. And so by asking them, and keep in mind, sometimes people say, "Oh, I work in Tacoma." Well, great. Thanks for the geography lessons. What company do you work at? What company do you work for, or what type of work do you do in Tacoma? I want to get them into starting to chat a little bit more. From there, another great question that I typically go into is, well, what led you into that? What led you into that profession? The funny thing is, I have asked people, hairdressers, I have asked attorneys, I have asked realtors, I have asked lenders, and this one question here, what led you into that, was going to really give you some insights, going to give you some really great value as far as what led them into that, why they did that. If the verbiage feels right, I even ask them, it's like, what inspired you to get into that? So this one question here alone will really lead to some really great connection building for the person. From there, I always like to ask them, it's like, what was it like your first day? Now, I want you to think for a moment. Go back to when it was your first day in your profession. I honestly, I remember the first day of my real estate career when I was actually 100% realtor. No other career, no other safety nets. I remember that day as clear as can be. And, we all have that moment and stuff where we can look back and go, what was it like our very first day? And normally it was a mixture of excitement and a mixture of what I call the oh shit moment. It is, and once again, this is really great connection building time. And from there, I also was like, what do you like most about what you do? It is nobody, nobody in banking ever gets up and jumps up and down and go, oh goody, I get to talk to somebody about opening up a checking account today. For my banking friends out there, none of them say that. Or none of my attorney friends go, oh goody, I get to talk to somebody about a divorce today. It is, we all went into the professions that we're at is because there was a higher thing that drew us into that aspect. And so by asking people, it's like, what do you like most about what you do? You get into that deeper level of conversation with them. You really truly start to get to build you build a great connection with them on this. And then finally, I kind of like to start bringing them back to present moment and stuff. And then, one of the best questions questions that I've heard to help bring people back into that current moment now is, what are you working on now? So mentally, we're bringing them back to today and stuff. And so this way, you get to learn what projects are they working on now, or where are they, what movement is their companies having right now. Now, sooner or later through all of this, they're also going to realize that, wow, they've been doing a lot of talking about themselves, and most of them are probably going to want to say, feel a little uncomfortable because they have asked you zero about yourself. Now, keep in mind, those people may have not had the training that you just received in this quick block here and stuff, but, it is all of a sudden, so they may look at you and go, oh, well, tell me about yourself, or what do you do? Well, now you have built a connection with them. You have got to learn about them. Now you can respond back and you can share with them the story about what you do and why you do, and share it with them in a manner of where you're going to be able to connect with them, as opposed to just merely saying, oh, well, I'm a business banker, or I am an attorney, or, any of that aspect and stuff. So. Oh, sooner or later they're going to ask you about yourself. So, we just get, you can utilize this type of, what I call 5 powerful questions in professional settings or social settings. It, honest to God, has been one of the best icebreakers that I have ever come across. So, when you follow up, when you follow up with the person, you have a true connection with them. You have a reason to follow up with them. You're no longer the, hey, we happen to bump into each other at that fill-in-the-blank event. I was one of amongst 200 other people that you were mixing and mingling and bumping elbows with in a room and stuff. To a certain extent, since you've built a connection with them, now they will welcome your call. You're no longer that person that they happen to know, or you're no longer that person that they bumped into at an event and stuff. Now you're starting to cross over into that person that I actually chatted with, and we got to know about each other, and almost maybe going into the friend mode and stuff. So, I hate it when I hear people say, "Oh, networking is a numbers game." I disagree with that. I think network is not always a numbers game. I think networking is more of a connection building game. Now, granted, you have to put yourself out there. You have to reach out and meet with a handful of different people and stuff. You can't fall into that wallflower effect and expect for people to come and introduce themselves to you. So in that aspect, I will agree that it is a networking game, but I think it's more of a connection building game. So, as I always tell people, success is never owned. It is rented, and the rent is due daily. You have to take daily actions to achieve and keep success. The greatest sports teams out there train regularly. I mean, it is today in the Puget Sound area here, Seattle, Tacoma, Washington, where I'm at. It's Blue Thursday. We got the Seattle Seahawks playing tonight. Now, I can guarantee you that the Seattle Seahawks just didn't wake up and go, "Oh, hey, it's Thursday morning. We're playing a game tonight. I better eventually make it to the field on time." No, they were practicing earlier this week. Every top producer or performer in your industry has a coach, mentor, that basically, that works with them on how to stay on their A game. As I always tell people, the number one investment that you can make is 100% in yourself. I always laugh when people tell me it's like, "Oh, I'm at the top of my game and I don't have to worry about it anymore." It is, complacency is the kiss of death when it comes to the business world. So I apologize for those of you that are eating lunch or something like that, but I saw this slide one time at a buddy's of mine presentation. I was like, man, I love that. That is absolutely what is all about. You've got the ballerina, the ballerina, toes here and stuff. One that's on the shoe, and the other one that you see the gnarly look of what it looks like and stuff. I mean, it is. I have friends that will talk about the beauty of the ballerinas, the beauty of the dance, and so many people's like, "Oh, I would love to dance like that," but they don't see is the time and the effort and the commitment and the long hours that went into being able to dance and perform and be at that A game. It's very much very, very similar here in the business world as far as you have to absolutely always be on your A game. You have to practice, you have to work so that you can perform and be on your A game. So I want you to understand that the business builder game, and I apologize for some of you that may get a little bit bent out of shape that I'm referring to this as a game. That your business. I understand that your business is very, very truly important to you. You don't view it just as a game. It's your livelihood. It's how you how you provide for your family. It's how you provide for yourself. It's how you put a roof over your family's head. It's how you put food on the table for your family. I get that. I understand that. I acknowledge that. But when I talk about looking at the business builder's game and stuff, is like I want to look at like how do we always position, and what's the strategy? How do we lead into big to where we basically we're getting you're getting to that best level of business and stuff, so that you can provide for your family, you can put food on your table and stuff. And we go from the top down here and stuff. First thing, it's all about activities. You've got to do there are core activities that you have to do within your business, so that you can basically get the introductions and the context, and kind of what we refer to as in the next stage here is the leads. There's certain things you have to do to attract people to come to you, and those become your leads. Well, guess what? Now you have to follow up with those leads. You have to reach out to those leads. So often when I meet with people and I work with them on a one-on-one basis, kind of ironically, the number one, I won't say the number one thing, but ironically, a really, really big thing that normally comes out is 9 times out of 10, most people don't have a serious lead generation problem. They have a serious follow-up problem. And by having a serious follow-up problem, that kills that chain right there. So that stops the leads from being able to go into what's called appointments made, or and my breakdown sheet and stuff I refer to as AM. So, your next step is going for leads is you want to get appointments made. From appointments made, you go into appointments conducted. I wish I could say that I met 100% of the time with all my appointments. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Life comes up, stuff comes up, people get double booked. People forget about me. It is. Trust me, all of us have been stood up before professionally. So that's so from the appointments conducted, that's what leads us into having clients. That's what leads us into um, you know people going from our prospecting or our prospecting stage into our client stage. From our clients, we get them under contract. Each business is a little bit different, so you have to look at what is your business and what are your numbers going to be. And you almost have to work. The funny thing is, you almost have to work a little bit backwards and stuff. You have to say if you want X amount of money for volume generated, you have to work backwards as far as, okay, how much is each one of my clients, what type of volume or what type of income is that worth? Well, how many appointments sit down, how many appointment sit downs do I have to do for one client to come out of that? Well, to get those amount of appointments, sit downs and stuff, actual true appointments conducted, how many appointments do I have to be made? And then from there, how many leads have to be done and what are the activities to get those leads? So this will kind of help give you an idea of a roadmap and stuff, how to, your business builder's game. So last thing to do every day, and I do this myself, every day as I'm kind of wrapping up and stuff, is daily planning and reflection. I actually take about 20 minutes every day that I actually kind of sit there and I look at what have we done today, what's coming up tomorrow. I deal with the realities. I cut out the crap. This is the time to be truthful and honest with yourself. Trust me, it is really, the easy thing is to sit there and go, everything's wonderful, everything's joyful, but I mean, unfortunately, sitting in that wonderful, happy, joy world doesn't pay the bill. So you want to deal with the realities and cut out the crap. And you also want to look at, am I operating in the highest and best use of your time? It kind of goes into one of the techniques that I've learned is I actually, schedule out my day in 15-minute blocks. Now that doesn't mean that I give my client one 15-minute block. There'll be multiple 15-minute blocks in there and stuff, but I look at every activity that I do that's a money-making activity, and I see how many 15-minute blocks can I, will it take, and that's how I make sure that I'm always operating at the highest and best use of my time. So, want to chat a little bit about our advanced next level training and stuff. It's a 90-day business accelerator boot camp. So what this is it's going to basically fast track your business for success. We're going to talk about generating leads. We're going to talk about following up with leads. We're going to talk about converting leads to paying clients to customers. So we're going to go hardcore. This is going to be done virtually. This is going to be done in a webinar setting very much like this. We're going to be getting really in depth with lead generation systems. As I tell you, the ironic thing is my main business, my core business, as most people know me for, is in the business of real estate. Well, how we work with lead generation in real estate also works in the same aspect of lead generation in the law firm, the law arena or the banking arena or any type of professional services. We all basically have what we have to work within our lead generation. Now, depending on your industry or regulations, there may be a couple of different tweaks and stuff that we have to work on and stuff, but we all basically go out, we lead generate very, very similar aspects in similar ways. We're going to get really, really intense on your social media. And I love when my financial planners and stuff, my financial advisors tell me, it's like, well, we can't do social media. corporate says I can't do it. Well, if your corporate says you can't do it, then I'm going to tell people is don't ever go against what your corporate says. Whoever's cutting your check, whoever's writing your salary and stuff, you always want to make sure you stay congruent and you work within their aspect and stuff. But one of my favorite financial advisors, she's involved in stocks and bonds and financial advising and all that aspect. She is absolutely uber just busy on Facebook. And most of my financial people and stuff, they don't have Facebooks because they're compliant so that they can't have a Facebook. Well, what this person does is, she doesn't talk about what she does professionally on Facebook. Everybody, she figures like, okay, anybody that's connected with me on Facebook, they know what I do professionally. I'm going to share with you my life. So she really gets how that build that social media side. We're also going to talk about, getting really into referral sources and closing techniques. We're going to go into the steps of the sales and stuff to where you work into closing techniques and understanding like, when to use a product technique, product closing, or to use a time closing, or the different types, and we're going to get really dialed in on helping you improve your closing ratios. I'm going to spend a lot of time on phone skills. Talk about how to return phone calls, voicemails, cold calling, how to reach out to connect with people, follow-up systems. This is a key element here. This is one of the big aspects, as I always tell people, is so often when I sit down with people, they don't truly have a what I refer to as a lead problem. They have what I refer to as a follow-up problem. So bonus session, we're going to go into, as a handful of you know, is I'm very big about health and wellness and stuff. We're going to go into a health and wellness bonus session stuff. We're going to talk about weight loss or weight management. We're going to talk about optimum health. I'm going to share with you some of the techniques that I've used for my energy management, because what it all boils down to is each and every one of us that's on this session here with us, as I'm looking at the attendee list and stuff, I know that either number one, you're self-employed. Number two, you're employed, but you're in 100% commission structure to where you eat what you hunt. You have no base salary. You have no safety net. Or number three, you have a base salary, but the bulk of your income is actually made through your bonuses, your overrides, your commissions, items of that aspect. And for those of us that fit in that aspect, our energy source is our number one commodity. It's our number one thing that helps us going to be able to push us into that next level of income and stuff. So, there's certain aspects. It's like, about every 90 days, I have my blood drawn, and the reason being is because I always want to live on in a state of getting into a better state of wellness. So I have my blood drawn every 90 days. Basically, what I'm looking at is there anything I need to change supplement wise, or is there anything I need to change diet wise? It is. Where do I basically work in the aspect of where, I can basically get 6-7 hours sleep a night and get out and crush it and just, hustle and move for the next 10, 12, 16 hours. So, that's going to be one of our bonus sessions and stuff. So each week it's going to be between 60 to 120 minutes of live in-depth webinar. These are not recorded webinars. These are live in-depth webinars. We're going to come in with question and answer periods. So we're going to have a private Facebook group with just other boot camp members. So and the funny thing is I've been in other trainings like this and stuff. This, ironically, right here is where some of the best training comes out of. We're going to basically line you up with what I refer to as accountability partners and stuff, so that somebody's going to help hold you accountable, so that they may be in your same industry, but they're not going to be in your same marketplace. One of the things that on the real estate world that I do is I actually sit on a mastermind to where I work with other agents all across the U.S. and man, I tell you, we tear each other's marketing apart. We tear, we open up our calendars to each other. We tear that apart, and the reason is because we're never each other's direct competition and stuff. So I mean, we can just be as brutally honest as possible, and we're all working to basically build each other up into the better good and basically be more successful. So I tell people, like, my best growth in relationships have always come from mastermind groups. There's going to be weekly action items. This is a boot camp style training. It's, as a few people here know and stuff. I've got a military background. I was in the Army. I love that boot camp style training. I don't like the fluff. I want us to get in depth and get hard. So you're going to be given assignments and you're going to be absolutely held accountable. I absolutely want you to be successful. If we're going to spend the next 3 months with each other, I want you to come out of this absolutely successful. So execution is the heartbeat of your business. The second it stops is the second your business begins to die. All right, so, as I tell people, it's like we live in this crazy world. People will go put themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, spending 4+ years of their lives to get their education. It's like me, my formal education is that as a computer network engineer. You would never want me to come in and design your network. I am a dinosaur in that industry, but I went hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, I didn't go hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I went through the GI Bill with the military and stuff, but I still went in some degree of debt to finish out my college degree. And, just like, how I'll work with dentists or with attorneys or these professions and stuff where they spend the 6+ figures to learn their profession, and very rarely, if at all, do they ever learn the necessary skills on how to build and promote their business so they can become successful. I was actually speaking for a dentist conference and stuff, and this was like a rarity. This dentist conference was actually totally in line with not continuing education clock hour classes, not how the latest techniques of how to fill a cavity or anything like that, but it was all pure business management, sales, marketing, how to become successful in your practice. As I tell people, for an extremely small amount of money, you'll learn the necessary skills along with get coaching on how to create business and marketing plans that will generate 7+ figures a year. If you're not generating 7+ figures a year, you absolutely have to be investing in yourself to get yourself up to that level. So 90-day boot camps, hardcore coaching plus interactive inside Facebook group along with daily access to me. If you were to go look for this degree of coaching from myself or from anybody else, this level of one-on-one interaction, you would easily spend $60,000 a year. It's like, as I tell people, it's like, myself personally, I have 2 coaches. I spend, 5 figures a year between my 2 coaches, and that's my two different businesses. They provide different aspects in with each one of my my main business entities and stuff. So, as I tell people, we're not charging $60,000, not even charging $6,000. If you go onto our website right now, our 90-day Business Accelerator Bootcamp is there. You can register on our website right now for $14.97. That includes the 90 days, the one-on-one coaching, all that aspect. But I always like to reward those that take action. I always like to reward those that, that have, gone through some of our training programs already. So for those that are active now, we can get our entire program for $997. So we're whacking off basically $500 and stuff. So, I always want to mention into this is just like my real estate, business and stuff. I always tell people I am more about accountability than I am about, contracts and stuff. So absolutely money back guarantee. And this is basically our money back guarantee is, as I tell, as I was mentioned, just like my real estate business stuff, I want actions and performance guarantees. So within 30 calendar days of our last training sessions, and if you have done the work, you've attended each session, you've completed and shown that you've done all the homework, action steps, and weekly commitments, and if you still feel that this program was not worth every penny, I will refund the full amount of everything, and you get to keep the content. This is, I believe in this coursework. I believe in this so well. This is the same type of coursework that I have taken into my own personal real estate team. This is the same type of coursework that I have taken into other industries and stuff, and I've seen just the amount of massive success that, if you don't feel is worth every penny, then absolutely we'll refund back all your money and stuff. So, promise with 100% certainty that this will be the best investment you have ever made in your career. As I said, boot camp starts, this Wednesday, September 7th, 2016, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Basically same day, same time as today, except we're doing it on a Wednesday as opposed to a Thursday today. So, if you think about it, $997. What does that truly break down to? Well, that breaks down to about $11 per day. So if you decide to pack your lunch every day for the next 90 days together, the savings alone will have covered the training. So how do you register? We can register now. Just go to gregttraining.com, click on the webinars, send a message for our boot camp. We're actually we're trying to work on getting it, our uh, pay now function and stuff plugged in there and stuff. We've had a little bit of issues and stuff with that. So within that, we'll basically email back over to you an invoice that'll get you logged in for all the trainings and stuff like that. So you can register now at gregttraining.com. So let me back that slide out here. All right, let me go ahead and take a look here. What questions we have had pop up into our chat functions and stuff here. Oh, let me get into that box. Gotta love technology here. So, will this work with massage therapists or spa style services? Absolutely. Even if your service and stuff is that primarily of people coming into you and into your place of business and stuff, you still want to attract people coming into your business. You still want to attract people coming into, you basically want to make, what I refer to as, you want to make noise in business world. You want to make noise as far as getting people to know that, you want to stand above what your competition is. Yesterday I was at a training function with the Tacoma Pierce County Association of Realtors. It was more of our general membership meeting and stuff, instead of training. So in that aspect, it was, I think they said it's like there's 1,800 licensed, realtors in the Pierce County area, and they factor in probably about another 800 to 1,000 licensed non-realtors, because in order to be a realtor, it is you have to you abide by a code of ethics. I mean, it's an association and stuff. Not all licensed real estate brokers are licensed realtors and stuff. And so, I mean, it's like my real estate team and stuff is like, we have to create what I call is creating noise. We have to stand above what everybody else is, we have to stand above to where, we attract people to us. We're not, we don't want to be like everybody else. So yes, absolutely, you will get the same, you will learn how to do that through this types of training and stuff. Let me take a look here. I love this. Business to business, cold calling and stuff. What's the best way to call, the best way to reach out to somebody, best way to call somebody? Great question. Because a lot of us in business and stuff, the phone is still absolutely our friend. The phone is absolutely one of those aspects of, helping us reaching out and connecting and stuff. And so this is a technique that I've learned and I've utilized, is what I call, it's a two-pronged approach, and basically it's what I call the email and the phone call. If it's a business to consumer, typically I will make the phone call first and then follow up with an email or a Facebook message or something of that aspect. I'm kind of looking at that two-pronged approach. In business to business, it's kind of the exact opposite. Is I will do the email first, and then I'll call them and say, hey, I just want to let you know I just emailed this over to you. I just want to make sure it gets put onto your radar and stuff. And within that, let's talk a little bit about what I refer to as your hierarchy of communication. Number one, best way of communication is, if you ask me, is one-on-one, face-to-face, person-to-person communication. Number two is the telephone. Number three is text messaging. Number four is email. Number five is social media. And so within my clientele, within my prospects, prospects or suspect list is depending on how your CRM, profiles them and stuff. I'm always looking at how do I move that person into that one-on-one meeting, that face-to-face meeting, just because it's like, it's one of those, I know my personal ratios, and I know the ratios out there with other people, that the best way to close somebody, the best way to do business with somebody is that one-on-one interaction, that being face-to-face. Now, can people get close? Can people agree to want to do business with you purely over the phone? Absolutely. But I see that once you get to that one-on-one ratio and stuff, that face-to-face ratio, your numbers pop up intensely more. So that I'm always looking at how do you scale somebody up and down that aspect and stuff. So great question. Other question. Can we do a breakdown? Can we do the training in 3 different payments? Yes, absolutely we can do that. I think that works out to what, about $334 per month and stuff like that. We can definitely set you up on that payment and stuff. Let's see here. Any other questions coming in? Nope. It looks like that we are locked. It looks like we are done with the questions and stuff. As always, you can reach out to me through our website. You can reach out to me through our social media. And definitely. So tomorrow we have our Becoming a Rockstar social media class coming up. A week from today is our 12 steps to closing the sale, and then we kind of go back into this next round of 3 classes and stuff. So thank you, everybody, and I will chat with you soon. Make it a great day.